The hospital hallway smelled like clean floors and worry. Behind one closed door, something impossible was happening. Something that would make people whisper for years to come. Inside room 217, Sarah lay exhausted on white sheets. Her blonde hair stuck to her forehead with sweat. Her hands shook as she reached for the first baby. Then the second. Then the third. 8 babies. 8 perfect, beautiful babies. But there was something that made every doctor and nurse stop and stare. Something that made their mouths fall open in shock. All 8 babies had deep brown skin and dark, curly hair. Sarah's skin was pale as milk. Her hair was the color of summer wheat. But these babies, her babies, looked nothing like her. "Ma'am," Dr. Stevens said slowly, adjusting his glasses. "We need to talk about—" "They're mine," Sarah whispered, pulling the nearest baby close to her chest. Her voice was soft but strong, like a flower pushing through concrete. "All 8 of them. They're mine." The nurses looked at each other. One covered her mouth. Another shook her head and walked out of the room. "But how—" Dr. Stevens started again. "I said they're mine." Sarah's voice cracked like thunder. Tears ran down her cheeks, but her arms held those babies like she would never, ever let go. Outside the door, people were already talking. Whispers spread to the hospital like wildfire. "Did you hear about the woman in 217? 8 babies. All of them. It doesn't make sense. What kind of mother?" But Sarah didn't care about the whispers. She counted her babies over and over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All breathing. All healthy. All hers. Each baby had the same tiny nose. The same perfect fingers. The same soft cries that made Sarah's heart feel too big for her chest. She named them right there in that hospital room, while people whisper outside. Marcus, Hope, David, Faith, Daniel, Grace, Michael, Joy. "You are mine," she whispered to each one. "And I will protect you. I promise. I promise with every breath of my body." 3 days later, Sarah went home. But home wasn't ready for what was coming. The town of Millbrook was small. Everyone knew everyone, and everyone had an opinion. Sarah's neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, stood on her porch with crossed arms as Sarah's brother helped carry the babies inside. Her lips pressed into a thin line. "Disgraceful," Mrs. Patterson muttered to her husband. "Absolutely disgraceful." Down the street, Mr. Chin stopped watering his garden to stare. His wife pulled their children inside and locked the door. Even Sarah's own mother stood at the end of the driveway, shaking her head. "Sarah, you can't do this," her mother said, her voice breaking. 8 babies? They're not. You can't." "Can't what, Mom?" Sarah stopped, holding Marcus and Hope in her tired arms. "Can't love them? Can't keep them? Can't be their mother? People will talk. They already are talking. Think about what this means for your future. For their future." Sarah looked down at the babies in her arms. Marcus yawned. Hope's tiny hand grabbed Sarah's finger. "I am thinking about their future," Sarah said quietly. "And I'm going to be in it. Every single day." Her mother turned and walked away. She didn't come back for 3 years. Inside the tiny apartment, reality hit Sarah like a cold wave. 8 cribs, 8 mouths to feed, 8 bodies to clothe, 8 lives depending on her. And she was alone. That first night, Sarah sat on the floor surrounded by her babies. The apartment was silent except for tiny baby sounds, little coughs, soft whimpers, peaceful breathing. She had $17 in her wallet, 3 cans of formula, no job. Fear wrapped around her heart like ice. "What have I done?" she whispered into the darkness. But then Marcus started crying. Then Hope. Then all 8 of them, one after another, like a sad song. Sarah stood up. She picked up Marcus first, then Hope, balancing them both. She hummed a song her grandmother taught her, a song about being strong, about not giving up. One by one, the babies stopped crying. One by one, they fell asleep. And Sarah made a promise in that dark apartment, with her babies finally peaceful around her. "I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what anyone thinks. You are my children. I chose you, and I will never, ever give up on you. She thought about the day she first learned she was pregnant, the day her boyfriend, their father, held her hands and made her promise. If anything happens to me, Sarah, you protect them. Promise me, no matter what. 2 weeks before the babies came, he was gone. A car accident on a rainy road. Gone forever. But his word stayed with her. That promise burned in her heart like a flame that couldn't die. Sarah looked at her 8 sleeping babies. Your daddy loved you before he ever met you, she whispered. And so do I. We're a family. That's all that matters. Outside, the world judged. Inside, love grew stronger. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new whispers, new battles. But tonight, Sarah had her babies. All 8 of them. Safe, warm, loved. And that was enough. That had to be enough. Because the hardest days were still coming. Morning came too fast. Marcus cried first. Then Hope. Then all 8 babies woke up hungry, wet, and needing their mother. Sarah's eyes felt like sandpaper. She had slept maybe 2 hours. But she got up anyway. Because that's what mothers do. The tiny apartment looked even smaller in the daylight. 8 cribs took up every inch of space. There was barely room to walk. The kitchen had 1 small stove, 1 old refrigerator, and cabinets that echoed when you opened them because they were so empty. Sarah heated 3 bottles at a time. It was all she could manage. While 3 babies ate, 5 babies cried. When those 3 finished, she started 3 more. By the time all 8 were fed, the first ones were hungry again. This was her life now. By the end of the first week, Sarah had $12 left. No food, no formula, no diapers. She swallowed her pride and walked to the store. The manager, Mr. Roberts, had known Sarah since she was a little girl, but when she walked in with 4 babies strapped to her chest and back, and 4 more in a borrowed wagon, he looked at her like she was a stranger. Sarah, he said slowly, I heard about your situation. I need formula, Mr. Roberts, and diapers. I can pay you back. I just need a few days to find work. Mr. Roberts looked at the babies, all 8 of them with their beautiful brown skin and dark curls. He looked at Sarah with her pale, exhausted face. I can't give credit to someone who, well, someone in your situation. Sarah felt her face burn with shame, but she stood tall. These are my children. I take care of my children. Then take care of them properly, Mr. Roberts said coldly. Come back when you have money. Sarah walked out with her head high and her heart breaking. That night, she fed the babies water mixed with a tiny bit of sugar. It wasn't enough. They cried. She cried too, but Sarah didn't give up. The next morning, she knocked on every door in town. I can clean. I can cook. I can do anything. Please, I just need work. Most people closed their doors in her face. Mrs. Patterson said, I don't associate with people like you. Mr. Chin said, we don't need help. But then Sarah knocked on the door of Miller's Bakery. Old Mrs. Miller opened the door. She was 80 years old with kind eyes and hands twisted from years of kneading bread. You're the girl with the 8 babies, Mrs. Miller said. Sarah's shoulders dropped. Yes, ma'am. You looking for work? Yes, ma'am. Anything. I'm a hard worker. I promise. Mrs. Miller studied her for a long moment. Can you start tomorrow? For in the morning. I need someone to prep the dough. Sarah almost fell over with relief. Yes. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Don't thank me yet. It's hard work, and it doesn't pay much. I'll take it. Thank you. That night, Sarah had hope again. But one job was enough. She found a second job cleaning offices at night. Then a third job washing dishes at the diner on weekends. Sarah's life became a blur of exhaustion. For in the morning, work at the bakery. 8 in the morning, rush home to feed the babies. 9 in the morning, sleep for 1 hour. 10 in the morning, feed the babies again, change diapers, wash clothes by hand. Afternoon, try to sleep while the babies napped, but usually just cry from exhaustion instead. 6 at night, feed the babies dinner once they were old enough. 8 at night, rush to the office building to clean. Midnight, Rush home. 1 in the morning. Feed the babies one more time. 2 in the morning. Finally sleep. For in the morning, start all over again. Some days, Sarah forgot to eat. She gave the food to her babies instead. Some days, she was so tired she fell asleep standing up. But she never stopped. Money was always tight. Most months, Sarah had to choose. Pay rent or buy food. Pay electricity or buy clothes. She learned to be creative. When the babies needed clothes, Sarah cut up her own dresses and made tiny outfits. They didn't match, but they were warm. When the babies needed toys, Sarah made dolls from old socks and drew faces on them with markers. When there wasn't enough food, Sarah made soup from one potato and called it magic stew. The babies believed her because children believe in magic when their mother says it's real. Every night, Sarah braided the girls' hair by candlelight to save electricity. She sang songs her grandmother taught her, songs about being strong, about family, about love that doesn't break. Marcus, the oldest by 3 minutes, started asking questions when he turned 5. "Mama, why do we look different from you?" Sarah's heart squeezed tight. She had known this day would come. She sat down and pulled all 8 children close. "Do you know what makes a family?" she asked. "Blood." Hope guessed. "Love," Sarah said firmly. "Love makes a family. I loved you before you were born. I love you now. I will love you forever. That's what makes us a family." But the kids at school say, "I don't care what anyone says," Sarah interrupted gently. "You are mine. All 8 of you. That's the truth. That's all that matters." The children didn't fully understand, but they felt safe in their mother's arms. They felt loved, and for now that was enough. But the town didn't make it easy. Teachers at school asked the children uncomfortable questions. "Where's your real mother?" "Sarah is our real mother," Marcus always answered, his small voice fierce. Other kids teased them, called them names, said cruel things that made Hope and Faith cry. Every day, the 8 children came home with new hurts, new questions, new doubts, and every night, Sarah healed them with stories. She told them about their father, a good man, a kind man, a man who loved them before he ever met them. She told them about the day they were born, how perfect they were, how beautiful, how the whole world stopped to look at them. She told them they were special, chosen, loved beyond measure. "We're a miracle family," Sarah would say. 8 miracles all at once. The children believed her, because when your mother tells you you're a miracle, you believe it. Years passed like this. Hard years, hungry years, years that felt like climbing a mountain that never ended. But slowly, things got a tiny bit better. The babies became toddlers. The toddlers became children. The children learned to help. Marcus learned to make bottles for the younger ones. Hope learned to change diapers. David learned to cook simple meals. They worked together like a team, like soldiers in an army of love. And through it all, Sarah kept one thing sacred. Every Sunday, no matter how tired she was, she gathered all 8 children and they had family time. They played games. They told stories. They laughed together. Those Sundays reminded them why they fought so hard, why they didn't give up, because they were family. And family doesn't quit. But Sarah was getting tired, so very tired. Her body ached. Her hands shook. Her heart felt heavy. Late at night, when the children were asleep, Sarah would sit by the window and wonder if she was doing enough, if she was strong enough, if love was really enough. She thought about the promise she made to their father. "I'm trying," she whispered to the stars. "I'm trying so hard." The stars didn't answer, but somewhere deep inside, Sarah felt a warmth, a strength that wasn't her own, the strength of a mother's love, the strength of a promise kept. And that strength carried her through one more day, then another, then another. The hardest years weren't over yet, but Sarah was still standing, and her 8 miracles were growing up strong. 25 years later, the Grand Hall in Millbrook was packed. Every seat was filled. People stood against the walls. News cameras lined the back of the room. Everyone had come to see them. The Miracle Family. On stage sat 8 people, all grown up now, all successful, all beautiful. Marcus wore a doctor's coat. He had become a surgeon. Hope was a teacher who helped children learn to read. David owned his own restaurant. Faith was a lawyer who helped people in trouble. Daniel built houses for families who had none. Grace was a nurse who cared for sick babies. Michael was an engineer who designed bridges. Joy was a social worker who protected children. 8 babies had become 8 amazing adults. And in the center of the stage, in a wheelchair now, sat Sarah. Her blonde hair had turned silver. Her hands shook with age. Her body was tired from years of hard work, but her eyes still sparkled with that same fierce love. The mayor stood at the podium, nervous. "Today we honor someone special," he began. "Someone our town once misunderstood." Whispers filled the room. People shifted in their seats. Mrs. Patterson sat in the 3rd row, her face red with shame. Mr. Chin sat near the back, wiping his eyes. Even Sarah's mother was there, tears already streaming down her wrinkled face. "We're here to celebrate Sarah Thompson," the mayor continued, "and to hear the truth we should have known 25 years ago." Marcus stood up. He was tall and strong now, but his voice shook as he walked to the microphone. "My name is Marcus," he said, "and I want to tell you about my mother." The room went completely silent. "When I was 5, kids at school asked me why I didn't look like my mama. They said cruel things. They said she wasn't really my mother." Marcus's voice cracked. "I went home crying. And you know what Mama said? She said, 'Love makes a family, not skin color, not blood, love.'" He looked at Sarah, who was crying now. "But there's something else. Something this town needs to know. Something we've kept private for 25 years. Everyone leaned forward. You all wondered how a white woman could have 8 black babies. You whispered. You judged. You treated my mama like she did something wrong." Marcus took a deep breath. "My father was a black man, a good man, a man who loved my mama with his whole heart. They were going to get married, but he died in a car accident 2 weeks before we were born." Gasps filled the room. Mama was alone, pregnant with 8 babies, scared, heartbroken, but she made a promise to our father. She promised to protect us, to love us, to never give up on us. Hope stood up and joined her brother at the microphone. "Do you know what it's like to watch your mother work 3 jobs?" she asked, her voice strong. "To watch her give us her food when she was hungry? To see her cry at night when she thought we were asleep?" Faith stood up next. "Mama fed us with her own body when we were babies, and there was no money for formula. She went days without eating so we could have food." David joined them. "She made our clothes from her own dresses. She made toys from trash. She made a home from nothing but love." One by one, all 8 children stood together. "This town rejected her," Daniel said. "Called her names," Grace added. "Refused to help her," Michael continued. "Treated her like a criminal," Joy finished. "But she never gave up on us," they all said together. The room exploded with emotion. People were crying. Some stood up and started clapping. Marcus held up his hand for silence. "There's more you need to know. Mama is sick, very sick. The doctors say she doesn't have much time left." Sarah smiled from her wheelchair, tears running down her face. "We wanted this town to know the truth before she leaves us. Mama didn't do anything wrong. She did everything right. She loved us when the world said not to. She fought for us when everyone said to give up. She believed in us when no one else did." Hope knelt beside Sarah's wheelchair. "You gave us life twice, Mama. Once when you brought us into this world, and again every single day when you chose to keep fighting for us." The mayor was crying now, too. So was everyone in the room. Mrs. Patterson stood up, her old voice shaking. "Sarah, I'm so sorry. I was wrong. So very wrong." Mr. Urchin stood next. "I should have helped you. Forgive me." One by one, people stood up. People who had turned their backs on Sarah 25 years ago. "We're sorry. Forgive us. You're a hero. You're the best mother in the world." Sarah looked at all of them, at the town that had rejected her, at the people who had made her life so hard, and she smiled. "I forgive you," she said softly, "all of you, because holding on to anger would poison the love in my heart, and my heart only has room for love." The applause started small, then grew. It grew until the whole room was standing, clapping, crying, celebrating. Celebrating a mother's love, celebrating a family that survived, celebrating the truth that had been hidden for 25 years. 3 months later, Sarah passed away peacefully in her sleep, surrounded by all 8 of her children. The funeral was the biggest Millbrook had ever seen. Thousands came, people Sarah had never met, people who had heard her story and been changed by it. The 8 children stood together at the front, holding hands. Marcus spoke one last time. "Our mama taught us that family isn't about looking the same. It's about loving the same, sacrificing the same, fighting for each other the same. She taught us that one person's love can change the world," Hope added. "She taught us to never give up," David said. "She taught us to forgive," Faith continued. "She taught us strength," Daniel said. "She taught us kindness," Grace added. "She taught us courage," Michael said. "She taught us hope," Joy finished. "And we promise," they all said together, "to teach our children the same, to love like Mama loved, to fight like Mama fought, to never, ever give up." The crowd didn't just applaud this time. They wept. They stood. They honored a woman who had given everything for love. Sarah's story spread across the world. News channels told it. Magazines wrote about it. People shared it online. The Miracle family became famous not for scandal, but for something beautiful, for showing the world what real love looks like, for proving that a mother's love can overcome anything, for teaching everyone that family is built not by blood alone, but by sacrifice, devotion, and unbreakable bonds. Today, all 8 of Sarah's children have families of their own. They've given her 32 grandchildren, and every Sunday, they all gather together for family time. Just like Sarah taught them, they tell their children stories about Grandma Sarah, about how she worked 3 jobs, about how she made magic from nothing, about how she loved them even when the world said not to. And those grandchildren tell their children, and the story goes on. Because love like Sarah's doesn't die. It multiplies. It spreads. It changes the world. One heart at a time. What do you think? Sarah gave up everything for her 8 children. She faced judgment, poverty, and pain, but she never gave up. Do you think Sarah deserves to be remembered as a hero? Have you ever known someone who loved like Sarah loved? What would you have done in Sarah's situation? We want to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and share your story. If this story touched your heart, please like this video. Subscribe to our channel so you never miss inspiring stories like this one. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it today. Sarah's sacrifice changed 8 lives. Her story can change millions more. Let's make sure the world never forgets the Miracle family. Let's honor Sarah's legacy together. Thank you for reading Sarah's story. May her love inspire us all to be better, kinder, and stronger.